Hello and welcome to another module on succeeding as a fine artist, guidance, tips, and strategies. This module is entitled Pricing Art. Pricing art. What should you charge for your art? That's always a big question. How to price your art, including digital art, art commissions, private sales, and gallery sales. So that's what we're going to talk about in this module, pricing art. Now, pricing art is considered by some to be an art itself and not a science. You look at the art, you wonder, wow, what value is it to the art collector? What value is it? Pricing your art should be based on something tangible. Now, should we base the price on the materials used? Let's say you use stretch canvases, you use palette knives and pens and paint and markers and pastels. Should we base the price on the materials we use? Well, that depends. Some others might base the price on labor costs. How long did it take to create the piece? So then the price may be based on labor. Pricing can be both subjective and objective. Subjective means based on the feeling people get from the painting, the feeling, or based on the location where we intend to sell the art. You know, is this an upmarket neighborhood? Well, maybe I should price it higher. That's a subjective way of pricing the art. Or you look around at what everybody else has and say, well, similar to mine is going at this price, maybe that's the price I will sell mine at. So that's subjective. One objective way of doing a pricing matrix is a square inch formula. The square inch formula is a method that can be used to price your artwork with or without material costs included. And one artist, Susie Drucker, said it's a set amount whether or not the painting is framed and regardless of my personal feelings about the piece. The square inch formula is a mathematical method that can be used every time to price your artwork. It provides consistency in pricing, which is what you want. Same prices on every platform. So if you have your art priced on your website, if you have it on Fine Art America's platform, if you stand live in an outdoor art show, you will have consistent pricing every time if you use this method. And then of course, if you're selling your art through a gallery, they usually mark up 100%. Okay, so you have to double the price in order to get what you want for the painting if you're selling through a gallery. So for example, a piece of art, which is 12 inches by 12 inches, you multiply 12 by 12, you get 144 square inches. Because it's small, we multiply by a factor of 1.5 for smaller pieces, let's say less than 20 inches wide or long. And so the retail price would be $216. If you're selling it through an art gallery, you multiply this by 2, you get $432. The next example, 20 times 20. So 20 inches times 20 inches, you have 400 square inches. Multiply this by a factor of 1.5, you get a retail price of $600. If you're selling through a gallery, it will be $1,200. Now, some of the bigger pieces, you say bigger pieces could be easier to paint, right? And so the factor that you use there is just 1. So let's say you have a canvas that is 36 times 30 times 48 inches. You get 1,728 square inches. You can round this off to a retail price of $1,800. If sold through a gallery, the retail price would be $3,600 to account for the gallery's profit. So these are some examples on the table here of pricing your art using the square inch formula. The square inch formula. Some more pricing tips. So what about the square inch formula plus materials that you're using? Materials. So that would mean adding in the price of the material. So you use the same square inch formula, then you add in the price of the materials that you're using to get your retail price. So you would use that if you want to recuperate the cost of materials, including the canvas, the frame, maybe other material that you're using. So you figure out how much you spend for materials. You could double it or just add the cost itself. If you spend $50, then just double it maybe for going to buy the material, the time, the transportation costs, etc. That can help you in pricing and adding material costs to the final retail price. So if the square inch formula was 430 and you calculated 100 for materials, time, transport, then the total retail price would be 530. Let's look at an example on the chart. So you have a painting that is 30 inches times 30 inches. So that's 900 square inches. You use a size factor of 1.25. So medium size piece. The pricing factor would be 1.25. So we have a retail price of $12.50. You've calculated that materials of $50. So the total retail price would be $1,300. Let's look at a very big work. 30 inches times 60 inches, that's 1,800 square inches. You multiply this by a size factor of 1, and you get a retail price of $1,800. The materials used worked out to be 200, right? So your final retail price would be 2,000. So this is where you're using the square inch formula and you're adding material. Now look at this exercise. You can pause the tape and calculate this on your own. So just pause the video and do the calculations. The price for mixed media painting for gallery showing, all right, that's a hint there, gallery showing, the dimensions of the work, 8 by 12 inches, and you're using expensive material that you want to add into pricing this work. So $200 for gold leaf. So pause the tape and calculate. Okay, so here we have worked out our pricing for the artwork. It's 8 by 12 inches. We multiply by a factor of 1.5 for small works. And then we add our material, our expensive gold leaf, $200. So here we calculated. And remember, it said gallery showing, so you have to double the price for galleries because they mark up 100% of your proposed retail price is marked up 100%. So 96 times 1.5 plus $200 multiplied by 2, and we get a gallery retail price of $689.50. Right? Hope you got that answer. If not, go through the workout again to see where you went wrong. So this would be the proposed retail price at the gallery. When the painting is sold, you would receive half of this. So to recap, the square inch formula, you multiply the length of the piece by the width of the piece in inches to arrive at the total square inches, right? So a 12 by 12 painting would have 144 square inches. For small pieces, you can use a size factor of 1.5. What some people do, using the same square inch formula, they may decide on a dollar price per square inch. So that's another method. For example, if you decide you're going to charge $3 per square inch, $3 per square inch. So you multiply 144 times 3, and you get a price of 432, which you then round off to 430. So that's another method for pricing art, charging a dollar price per square inch, no matter what size. Again, the formula is based on the size of the painting. The smaller the painting, the more effort is needed to create a well-recognized image. And so that's why you find in the size factor method, a higher factor is used for smaller paintings. Other pricing strategies that some people have used. Let's say you're just getting started, you're unknown. It might be in your best interest to price lower than other artists just to get going, and then gradually increase your rates over time. Gradually increase your rates as you incorporate skill and there's a demand for your work, right? So you hope that in time, the price of your work increases. The more art you sell, the more your work is worth. So that's a general thinking. So gradually increasing your prices with time. Here's another strategy. Pricing your work based on the time taken to create it and the cost of materials. So this is another strategy used by some artists. Your art is your job, so you charge an hourly wage for this job. So an hourly wage times the hours spent creating it, plus the cost of the material. This would be objective. Okay, this would be an objective way to price the artwork. So the number of hours spent creating the work, the hourly wage, plus the cost of materials. So determine what your hourly rate is as an artist. Let's say $25 an hour. Figure out how many hours you spend creating a piece of art. If it was 5 hours, that would be 25 times 5. That's $125. Now consider the materials that you use. So if you spend $50 on materials, then that piece could be priced at $125 plus 50 to the price of $175. You may find other factors to add in, like transportation costs, part of the utility bill, things like that could be added to the price in an objective way to arrive at the final retail price. So let's say you've calculated the time taken to do the work, the materials. You can decide on what profit margin you want to make. A 30% profit margin on the previous example would give you a retail price of $227.50, which you can round up to $230. So that would be another way for pricing your art. Here's a reference on art price calculating, and you can use these links here to get some more ideas on pricing your artwork. What about digital art? Digital art. So you don't have actual materials that you're going to buy, but that can be priced using a wage, so a salary per hour, number of hours used to create the work, plus the profit margin would give you a price, because you're not buying materials, you're not going down to the store to buy materials, but you still have to find a way to price the artwork objectively. So one method could be a salary per hour, number of hours used to create the work, plus your profit margin. So that can give you a price. Then there's art commissions. So people see your work, they want you to do a commission for them. So you work with clients who like your artwork. Always work with clients who like your artwork, because if they don't truly like it, then they would not want to pay the value of the work. So work with clients who like your work and be firm with the pricing. If you're using a square inch rule, they ask how you arrive at the pricing. You show the objective method for pricing your work so that everything is clear before accepting a project. Value yourself as an artist. Value yourself as an artist. Don't sell your art as a cheap commodity, because not everyone can paint. But many people do appreciate art, so it has value. Now I'm going to show you one commission that I did, and it was performance art. So in this case, it's the perceived value of the project as opposed to just the pricing of the materials and all, the perceived value of the performance piece to the buyer. So this was a project I did for a choir. And so I'm going to show you, it was a time-lapse video. Let's take a look. So doing an abstract painting in time-lapse, interesting project. And this video was put into another video with the choir singing. So it was an interesting project and a source of income. As an artist, we get commissions for all sorts of projects. So with this one, the music played in the background. The video went back and forth from the painting to the singers. And it was a very interesting way to use one's talent as an artist. A performance commission. So performance art created to music. And with performance commissions, the outcome may be planned a little, but the final result, for the most part, is unknown. You're not sure what the final image will look like. But that's the beauty of art, right? So I played the music in the background while creating this so that the music moved me while I was doing this artistic piece. Now this commission was for performance art. So it was not a commission for the actual piece, even though the piece was auctioned off afterwards. But the fee was for the performance as opposed to a fee for the artwork produced. So there you have it, beautiful piece of work, performance art. So in summary, pricing your art, you can use a square inch formula to make sure that the pricing program is objective. The square inch formula plus materials, so that's another objective way to price the work. Another method, hourly wage times the hours spent plus the cost of materials. You can use this and then add a profit margin to it. So a certain percentage would be your profit. Then another method would be for digital art, salary times the number of hours plus your profit margin, right? Because you're not buying materials with the digital art. With commissions, it could be salary per hour times the number of hours plus a profit margin for a physical piece of art. Or performance art, well, the perceived value to the client, it would have to be discussed with the client. We always recommend for commissions getting at least 50% of the payment upfront before you start the work. So that shows that the buyer is committed